Sergeant Meyer. I've known him since we were 13, ninth grade high school. Trips and falls while we're doing sprints and like dislocates his fucking shoulder, like bad. And I thought, it was just a simple dislocation. So he's laying there like, all fucked up, and I'm like trying to pound it back in there. So I'm holding it, I'm like hitting him on the shoulder. And his lips are turning blue. He's like on the verge of fainting. He's just like, oh, I'm gonna kill you. Hello everybody, how you doing? Terrence Pop here with another episode of Live from the Lair. And today we're going to be going over, this is one of the best ATs I believe the 425 ever pulled off. And I take it back. The best one was Jungle Warfare School for me. The second best was this one to Washington State. We got spun up. It was for, I think, 3 weeks in Washington. We're going to do a joint op with some other National Guard units in the Yakima Firing Center. Now, I was stationed at Fort Lewis when I was in the 2nd Ranger Battalion, 9th Infantry Division, so I spent a lot of time in the Yakima Firing Center, so I really wasn't too enthused about it. But it is what it is. I was a platoon sergeant of 3rd Platoon, and that's just the way it goes. And, I had a lot of soldiers in my platoon who had already went to school or done something else to fill up their 2 weeks during the year, so they didn't really have to go on the AT. But it was sold to the company that we would get 24 hours off to go check out Seattle. And a lot of guys were like, fuck yeah. I've never been to Seattle. I'm going to check that shit out. So, we divvy up the teams. We pack our deployment boxes. I make the packing lists. Yada, yada, yada. Fill our supply requests. And, we palletize all our shit. And we basically got flown to fucking Yakima, on Mill Air, which is pretty cool. Yeah, we flew right out of Selfridge Air National Guard Base, so it really wasn't that big of a deal. I mean, they just moved our shit onto the fucking tarmac, we palletized it, they picked it up with a big pickle fork thing, and, put it on the aircraft. I think we flew in, I would say it was 3 C-141s, which we jumped, we jumped in there, so it was pretty cool. We did 2 jumps when we were there. So, I mean, a lot of guys thought that was really cool, but I jumped Yakima many times, so it was just, same old shit, just don't land on some fucking rocks. And for those of you who don't know what Yakima is, it's basically like a prairie / semi-desert environment. And drier than shit. In the winter, it's cold as fuck, hot as shit in the summer. Just sucked. All right, so we get there, and we're doing PT. I think we're there like on the 3rd day, and we're doing PT. My buddy, Sergeant Meyer, I've known him since we were 13, 9th grade high school. Trips and falls while we're doing sprints, and like dislocates his fucking shoulder, like bad. And I thought, it was just a simple dislocation. So he's laying there like, all fucked up, and I'm like trying to pound it back in there. So I'm holding it, I'm like hitting him on the shoulder. And his lips are turning blue. He's like on the verge of fainting. He's just like, oh, I'm gonna kill you. So then I realized, this is some serious shit. So, we pack him up, take him to the aid station, and, they're doing their deal. Now, I was on Fort Lewis for 4 years, and the hospital that services Fort Lewis is the Madigan Army Hospital. At least that's what it used to be called. But there were some people that went in there for minor shit who fucking died. So I was like, nah, you're not cutting out. And the captain that was running, the TMC, he's just like, well, it's not up to you, Sergeant. If they want to cut on him, they'll cut on him. I go, listen, he's a National Guard soldier. He's covered by Blue Cross Blue Shield through AT&T. He has the same surgeons, the ones that fix the Red Wings. That's why I want to have him fix his arm. And if he gets cut on, sir, there's going to be dire fucking consequences. Do you understand me? Well, I was directly threatening an 03. I don't fucking care. So I got yelled at. Yeah, who cares? I got yelled at all the time. But anyway, that was one of my strongest team leaders. He was basically sidelined for the rest of the fucking deployment. He was fucked up pretty bad. So, we finally comes up to, we're supposed to get this 24 hours, and they arranged for us to, be flown down to Fort Lewis on a CH-47, and then we can, from there, make it to the PX, get rental cars, blah, 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 and then make it back and fly back on the CH-47. Well, lo and behold, it was a Washington Air National Guard bird, and apparently it wasn't dripping hydraulic fluid, which is a bad thing in that aircraft. If you ever get into a CH-47 and you see that it's dripping hydraulic fluid, you're good. That means there's hydraulic fluid in those lines. If it's not dripping something, it ain't right. Okay, it's just no. So they noticed it wasn't dripping, and then it would start, but it wouldn't hold, and then they said, "Fuck it, we're not going to fly it." And you know what? I'm totally cool with that. I mean, I really wasn't too enthused on flying around in a military helicopter for shits and giggles anyway. So everyone's all bummed out, and then they cut the 24 hours down to 18. Then they cut it down to 12 because we had a jump. And, everyone is just fucking flipping out. I mean, I'm going to have a motherfucking mutiny. So, I pull everyone aside. We go into one of the buildings, and I'm talking to the platoon, and they're like, "Fuck it," He said our commander said we get 24 hours, and now they're fucking around, and now they cut it down to 8 hours. Fuck it, we're not going to fucking perform. I don't want to hear that kind of shit. These are my fucking dudes. They're not fucking half-steppers, man. So, I didn't know this at the time, but the commander had come in through a door behind me, and I didn't see him. So I just addressed the entire platoon. I'm like, "All right, you motherfuckers. Fuck you. You're goddamn soldiers. You're going to do your fucking mission. And fuck the goddamn commander. Whatever he fucking says, you work for me." And I turn around, and he's standing right there, and I'm like, "Hey, what's up, sir?" Well, I didn't go over too well, so, I got royally fucking yelled at. They wrote me up for that shit, too, and I got a negative bullet on my NCOER for 2 years in a row because of that bullshit. But that's fine, it is what it is. But anyway, it gets bumped from 8 hours up to 10 hours. Our soldiers, they figured it out. We got on their cell phones, fucking got cabs, fucking rental cars. And, they were fucking gone. I decided I was going to stay behind because, I got a guy in the fucking, my best bud is fucking laid up. I'm not going to go out in the town and, do some stupid shit, especially if I'm thinking in my mind they're going to haul him off and cut on him, and I wasn't cool with that. So, I'm doing phone checks with my guys. I got, they all answer the first window. They answer the second window. And I, right around 7 hours, I'm like, "Hey, you need to start heading back." And then I started getting the, "You're coming in broken." Yeah, And one of my team leaders, not going to say his name, is the oldest guy in the platoon. Former Marine, or I guess you're always a Marine, but he was really suffering from a case of super bad attitude, and his assistant team leader was a total fucking skadoosh. He was a Force Recon Marine, and I have no fucking idea that Force Recon produces shitbags like this, because he was just fucking Mr. Super Negative. And this is all before we go out to do our mission. And so I'm not gonna bust anybody's fucking balls or do any fucked up shit, because I gotta have, I already have one team down. I have 3 teams left, that 100%, that I fucking need. So I said, okay, cool. So I knew that team leader and his ATL were behind, them not coming back on time. So, I call him up and I'm like, oh, so you're broken down on the road? You're changing a tire, I understand. Get it fixed as soon as you can and get back. All right. So basically, I told them the cover story that I was telling the commander and the first sergeant. I'd say, hey, I think they blew a tire or something. They're going to be late. Well, that didn't go over too well. Now, the first sergeant, we called him Charlie Brown because he looked just like Charlie Brown, was a fucking unprofessional shitbag weasel. And he, back in the day, was the 3rd platoon sergeant, not before me, but the guy before, like 2 guys before me. But he was friends with this old team leader and pulled him aside and did the buddy thing and basically hemmed me up for fucking, concocting a cover story to cover this guy. So I was really fucking pissed about that, because you're just ratting out your platoon sergeant and fucking, I was really fucking mad. But, I kept my cool. I'm like, all right, they're going into isolation. And I said, I'm like, listen, it's only me, and I got Shemansky, who's passed away now. And, I can't run 24-hour ops. Either everyone does, night or everyone does day. I can't do fucking both. Well, they decide, fuck Pop. I have one team wants to do it at night, 2 teams during the day. What can I fucking do? So for 4 days, I ran these guys chow, fucking took care of all their bullshit. Fuck, dude. I got like an hour and a half of fucking sleep. And, I was just royally fucking pissed off. So everything, is what it is. They get picked up. They get choppered out to where they're supposed to be. And they're making all the hard times. They're making all their comm windows. They're calling in, what they're supposed to see. And, everything is, go max. Some of the other platoons were 50-50. One was 30% comms. 3rd platoon was 100%. Which, if you're going to fuck up, that's the one thing you don't fuck up is your job. All right. And their hide, they constructed a hide on the side of one of these hills. It was near the top, but not quite. And it was so well camouflaged that a CH-47 almost fucking landed on them. Caused all kinds of pandemonium. Again, they're bad-mouthing, telling them they're out there fucking around, and they weren't in their objective, blah, blah, blah. Well, they were in their hide on the objective, and they got out of the hide because they're about to get crushed by a helicopter. There you go. In fact, the helicopter was so fucking close, one of my guys got hit with the static electricity and fucked him up pretty good. Not enough to go back to, the aid station or nothing, but he had a tingly arm in hand for about 2 or 3 days. So that was pretty hairy. And, oh my God. Let's see. Oh, yeah. So, the end of the field problem comes about. Lo and behold, the CH-47 and the Blackhawks can't fly. I don't know, there was some kind of maintenance issue, and then there was a real-world medevac for one of the units we were supporting, so they were taken out of play. So I had to go pick these guys up in a goddamn 5-ton truck on fucking Yakima. Now, some of those fucking hills are like, they're fucking crazy. So I had to go pick these guys up. And I remember I go to pick up the old guys' team. And if you ever watched the movie The Crow, where the guy's like, fire it up, fire. Well, they were fucking doing that. And they were all on the fucking hill yelling this shit at me as I'm going down this fucking ravine, wanting me to flip the vehicle. What a bunch of fucking cocks. But, hey, I'm old school driver. I get up there, I get them in, we go back to the rear. Now, the field problem's over. So, that afternoon, I didn't bust anyone's balls. That night, I didn't bust anybody's balls. The next day, we were cleaning vehicles and turning in shit. And after we were done, it was like 3:30 in the afternoon. I told one of my staff sergeants to go get my bag. And in that bag, I carried 2 2 sets of headgear, 2 sets of 16-ounce sparring boxing gloves, 2 sets of groin protectors. And I basically took all of 3rd Platoon off to the side, lined them all up, except for the guy with the hurt shoulder, and I had one of my other older NCOs got a case of the ass, and he was kind of pissed off because he thought I was going to smoke everyone, because I've done that before too. And I put the gloves on everyone, and I beat the shit out of them all one at a time. And I made sure that the one old sergeant who had the real bad attitude, I let him know that I was disappointed, that he'd violated 3rd Platoon rules, and, we're going to duke it out. Now, he's a 4th or 5th degree black belt in something or other, I don't know, ran a karate school. But being a martial artist and being a fighter, a kickboxer, are 2 different fucking things. It's a whole different animal. So I think he lasted 1 round, and he didn't answer the second round, and I beat the crap out of him, cracked one of his ribs. His ATL, I knocked his ass down 3 times. 2 of the times I knocked the headgear right off his fucking head. I was so mad at that fucker. And I rally everyone up. We put our shit back in the bag. Nobody needed to see that. It had to be done. And, we had a big party. Strippers were there. We were drinking heavily. We were drinking so fucking heavily that people had like piss in the sink, go in the women's room to piss. I mean, it was insane. But it is what it is. They're paratroopers, and that's the way it goes. And I think it was the following month that old NCO basically pulled me aside, and he apologized for being an asshole. And he said, he had a bad attitude. The commander was rubbing everyone the wrong way because he was a fucking royal asshole, which, it's neither good nor bad. I mean, sometimes you need an asshole commander, and sometimes you don't. And he said that he's going to re-enlist, stay in the unit, and that ass beating he got is exactly what he fucking needed. And I was like, all right, cool, man. And then because he did that, he actually went with us to Iraq. He would have missed out on that entire fucking thing. He never would have forgave himself because, that's when you are in the military for your entire life, and the flag goes up and you bow out before that happens, or you get left behind, it fucks with you for the rest of your days. And I'm glad that I spared him from that. Worked out well for him. But anyway, I mean, there was a couple other stories in there that are kind of personal in nature. Projectile vomiting. We had to pick a guy up off of the fucking floor because he passed out pissing, and he pissed all over himself. We had one guy who passed out between 2 buildings, and we actually had to get online and look for him at right before dawn to find his ass. And nobody died. Everyone was fine. Nobody got hurt. It's all fun and games until somebody fucking takes a picture and puts it on Facebook. Thank God Facebook didn't exist back then. Anyway, coming up on 19 minutes. I think that's a pretty good time to end these. 20 minutes, pretty good run. I want to thank all you guys out there for your comments on the last video about my that one staff sergeant I knew who passed away a little over a year ago. I appreciate it. He was a good dude, and I hate to see good dudes die. So you guys take it easy.